All right, guys, we're going to start with our density lab here. And as always, you want to make sure your balance is zeroed before you do anything. We're going to use a balance. So I'm going to have to adjust the counterbalance and wait for it. And we're good. So I have the unknown liquid here. And the first thing I'm going to do is weigh the empty graduated cylinder so I can find its mass. Move this over. And make sure they all lock in. All right, we're looking at we have 20. It is 28.00 grams. Now I'm going to take this unknown liquid, I'm going to add it to the grad cylinder. And don't worry about the numbers right now, we're going to put them on the board for you. Mr. Moore and I are going to get it all right before we send you to do it. Now one of your jobs is going to be to figure out what this unknown liquid is based on its density. So I'm going to be as accurate as I can be to give you good numbers. Right now I am filling it up to 10 milliliters. And just like we practiced, I want to get that meniscus right on the 10. One more drop. I lied, 2 more drops. Beautiful. So there's our unknown liquid. As always, cap it when you're done. Stay there. All right, so it was at 28. We're now at you're at 36.91, just over the 9. So that's where we're at there. So now you have the mass of the empty cylinder, the mass of the full cylinder. If you subtract the 2, you should be able to figure out the mass of that liquid. All right, I just told you it was 10.00 milliliters. So that's what we're going to do for this one. We're going to come back and give you some data on the block.
All right, everybody, and here we are back. We're about to measure calculate the densities of 3 different kinds of plastics here. We have a cloudy plastic, a white plastic, and a black plastic. At first, I'm going to show you how to go about measuring the dimensions in proper and precise way for the cloudy block, and then we will put the data for the black and the white block up separately, but we're not going to show you how we did all those measurements. So number 1, always make sure you're starting on the correct side of the ruler, which is the centimeters and millimeter side since we're in chemistry. And you're going to want to very carefully line up the 0 mark with one edge of the block. And I am going to call this, for the height, 1.24 centimeters. So we're also practicing good precision of measurement. The ruler shows you the 10th place, and you are allowed to go 1 place value past, which is going to be the 100ths of a centimeter. So 1.24 centimeters for the height. For the width, we have 5.19 centimeters for the width. And then finally, for the length here, we have 10.33 centimeters for the length. Okay, so we are going to calculate the volume by multiplying length times width times height, which we will have in the data table for you at the end. At this point in time, we are going to find the mass, which is going to be the other component of the density. So just like Mr. Wheeler did in the first segment, even though he just used this balance, I'm going to come back and I'm going to make sure that it's level, because these things have a habit of going a little out of whack. And we've got it coming to level. Get down at eye level, make sure that you are indeed where you should be. Block on the pan here. I'm going to start Okay, I'm going to make sure that that's locked in. And then one of the tricks to make sure that this thing is going to bounce quite so much on you, use a pencil or a pen with a thin end to slide the ones, the lightest rider. And then it's going to bounce a whole lot less on you. And for the mass, it looks like we are at 61.98, Mr. Wheeler. 61.98 grams. And we will, in the lab sheet, have a number of different types of plastic for you to choose from. So even though there are 3 types of plastic that you are going to get measurements on, we will have more than 3. And using the density, which is one of the intensive physical properties of the substance, you are going to determine what types of plastic the cloudy, the white, and the black plastic are.
Next, for the third installment of this density lab, we happen to find some of these space rocks just laying around here. Not sure what they are, so it's going to be your job to figure out what this is. Now, they are like very irregular shaped. We cannot take a ruler and try to measure and figure out the volume of this. Alright, it's just not going to happen. So we're going to have to do what's called water displacement. Water displacement is the same thing as like if you were in your bathtub, you filled it all the way up to the top and you jumped in, you spilled all the water on the floor and your mom's upset because you spilled all the water on the floor, but that's water displacement. So we're going to get a known volume in the grad cylinder, we're going to dump the rocks in, and it's going to change. And how much of a change is the volume of the rocks? The first thing I'm going to do is, I actually already zeroed out the balance, and it is zeroed. I'm going to take this note card and put it on here. Now the note card has nothing to do with the weight of the rocks, it's just I want to be able to transfer all the rocks into the test tube. So I'm putting this on there just so I can transfer stuff, and we'll have to take this out of the calculation. We are at, for the note card, a little too far. Okay, the note card has a mass of 1.50 is the mass of the note card. I'm now going to put all of these space rocks on there. Okay. Note card plus space rocks. All right, we are at 23.05 grams, that is. So if you subtract the two, we're going to figure out the mass of the space rocks. So now I have to add some water. And I need to add enough water that when I dump the rocks in, it's completely submerged. All the rocks are completely submerged, so we don't have any error, or very little. On, under, and it does not matter the starting point of the water inside, but it matters that I know exactly what it is. Alright, so I am going to start, get my face down here at the meniscus. I'm going to start on a line. I want to make sure it's nice. Alright, my starting level is 20.00 milliliters. So that's how much I initially have in there. And I got my eyeballs right down at the meniscus, so I was right on it and could see it perfectly. I'm now just going to fold up my note card, dump all my space rocks in, and the volume of this will go up. Okay? Good. Completely submerged. I'm going to tap on it and try to get all the air bubbles out. And now I'm going to take another peek at this. And it went up to just below 30, so we're going to call that 29.8 milliliters. All right. So now you have the mass, you have the volume by water displacement. You'll be able to figure out the density of this guy, and then hopefully what these space rocks actually are. All right, guys, here's all the data that we promised you from the lab. We purposely left a couple blank spots to let you have a little fun filling it in. We're also going to send you the lab paper that you're going to fill in all the missing blanks with and answer several of the questions as a post-lab review. Good luck. If you have any questions, feel free to email.